also, if you're going to build credibility, you should be able to look at a usage chart and get information, right? Like, when did they move in? Are they on electric heat? Do they use air conditioning a lot? You could tell these things just by looking at a consumption chart. And then you could use that to build credibility. Like, even right now, they're not looking at high bills for electricity, but if you see huge spikes in usage, like on that bill you just saw, like they're using 3,000 kilowatt hours, like, oh, this one's not bad, but like, oh, those winter bills are killer, right? They're gonna be like, yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, I know, no worries, that's why I'm here. Mm-hmm. They don't know how you know that, right? And this is the important part. They don't know how to read the bill and pull information like that, right? So that usage chart is a big source of information for us as salespeople to build credibility, right? Also, it's important that you could tell whether a customer is in good standing with their payments or not. This is important because this is how we qualify a customer, right? And if you're not qualifying your customers, that's when you end up with conversion rates at the closer to the 50% mark. And this is where you start getting disappointments of like, oh shit, I thought I had this many sales, but I actually only got this many sales, right? And it's very common to see that in the first month with the company, because the excitement's there, you're just writing every bill in your hand, like, right? But then the sort of reality sinks in, and you're like, oh shit, a lot of these sales aren't good, and it could hurt quite a bit. So it's important to start understanding that sooner, so you could keep your numbers high, and then change your quality and actually get better qualified customers. Right? Also, you need to be able to identify utility and government programs. So for example, if you're going to be doing a new program, Perch, right? You need to be able to tell if they're on the Universal Service Fund or not, because if they are, right, it's going to be a 50% reduction in commissions, right? You need to be able to tell, for example, if you're in Pennsylvania, if they have CAP or not, because if they're on CAP, they don't apply.
Perch and CA?
No. I'm saying if you're on, I'm just giving an example. There's no community solar in Pennsylvania yet. If there was, we'd already be there.
Excited.
Bro, are you kidding me? I wouldn't just drop that like out of nowhere, like in this. Oh yeah, by the way, we're opening a brand new market. No, right? On the bill, this is where you're going to see what their current prices for electricity are, and who their current suppliers are, and what kind of contract they have with another supplier. Those are the easiest sales of every day are customers who already have another supplier contract with somebody else. Right? You know that they buy shit at the door. You know they sign for shit at the door. You know that they have a similar program as what you're selling at a higher rate. It's just like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, when I see it on the bill, I'll run with it literally. Like, yeah, just like you did last time, with just making sure you get the one that you were supposed to receive for this year. It's basically the same thing. You just got to send you a quick text message.
But most importantly, you're using the information you're pulling off the bill to qualify the customer as a good customer or not, and to calculate your pay, right, and build credibility by using that information that you could see. And this is why it's important to have the bill first, right? You don't have the bill in your hand, you're doing this whole sales presentation, right? You can spend 10 minutes selling them, then you get the bill, and they're not even qualified, right? And what do? You sign them up anyways, because you just spent 10 minutes explaining to them instead of walking away like you should, right? Time sunk fallacy. Like, I already spent 10 minutes, I might as well spend another 10 signing them up, even though I know I'm not getting paid. Like, why? Just fucking get the hell out of there, right? So consumption chart, right? This is basically, it shows actual how much energy they're using over the total year. And this is why it's important, because it's how we calculate our commissions, right? So it also can determine whether they're qualified or not, right? So an RCE is a residential customer equivalent. Okay, so one RCE, 10,000 kilowatt hours for the whole year, right? So to calculate your RCE amount, you have to figure out how much they use for the year, and then just divide by 10,000. So for example, if they have used 10,000 kilowatts on the year, how many RCEs is that? One. What if they use 15,000 kilowatts on the year? 1.5, right? So there are actual utilities that show the total annual usage right on the bill. So for example, there's three types of consumption charts. There's types of charts that show the kilowatt hours per year on it. So Jersey Central power and light bills, BG&E bills, right? They'll show the total annual usage right on the bill. You don't have to calculate the total annual usage. So if you look on the bill and it says 16,562, you're like, oh, this bill is 1.6562. Like, you don't have to figure it out. Most bills are on these other two ones, kilowatt hours per month or kilowatt hours per day. So what you guys are seeing a lot of lately is the PSE&G bill. It is the hardest bill to actually calculate, but
Yeah, but that was the target.
because it's a kilowatt hours per day. So when you're looking at that consumption chart, right, you have the month, and then on the left-hand side, you have the kilowatt hours per day. On the right-hand side, it's the temperature. Don't worry about the temperature. It's just nothing. You're like, 50? Yeah! Right? So on the left-hand side, it's always the kilowatt hours per day, right? So you have to take your, how much they use, and then multiply by 30 to get your average per month, and then multiply by 12 to get your average per year. Right? So for example, if someone uses 10 kilowatts a day, how many kilowatts per month is that?
Like 300.
300. And if they're using 300 kilowatts a month, how much per year is that?
300 times 12.
3,600 times 12. Right? So these are the three different types of consumption charts. This whole, by the way, this whole entire thing is in your electronic, not the electronic binder, but it's in the community solar training materials online.
I just
My
like to
Google
write
Drive.
because it helped me remember.
Yeah, no, I'm just letting you guys know. You took a picture, like you have this whole file in your phone already.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a JCP&L bill. So this is an example of a total annual consumption. Right. So see here. Oh, that's the wrong math. Oops. But it shows you the consumption chart, right? And it's different every month, right? But it tells you right here the last 12 months usage. So 6,540 kilowatt hours. How many RCEs would that be? 0.654. So you don't have to guess, right? Because it shows the annual usage, and it shows the average monthly usage as well, in case there isn't a full year's consumption. These are the easiest ones to read. This is JCP&L in New Jersey, Potomac Edison in Maryland, MedEd in Pennsylvania, Penelec in like. There's a bunch of bills that are just like this. They're juicy. They're my favorites. I'm not gonna lie. Right. So this is then there's companies that do total monthly consumption. So this is where you start getting into estimates and not actuals. Right. So you're gonna estimate the average monthly usage. So by looking at the chart and by going, let's go somewhere in the middle of where all these lines go up to. The green is the newest year, right? So that's what you're going off of. Right? So it's like, you're just trying to average out. Like, okay, the average is right around here, 660. Right? So if it's 660 per month, how much per year is it?
I'm slow. Let me use my cheat code.
It's like 7,200, ain't it? Something like that.
79.
Is it 7920? Oh, fancy that. It's right up on the TV.
Oh my damn.
I was making
But that just
I
says-
see it. I was looking at it like, I see it.
Steve, you have a question.
Right there was wrong. The last say annual
Yeah.
usage. I forgot.
Right? So your annual usage, 660 kilowatt hours times 12, you get 7,920. Then you have to convert that to RCEs. So how many RCEs is that?
Not even one.
Yeah.
Almost.
0.792. Look at, if you're taking this number, all you're doing is you're sliding it over 4 decimal points.
Mm-hmm.
You just move the decimal to the 10th place, and then that's like this.
Yeah. Right? And then, so you got that many RCs. So how much would that pay you?
Probably like around like
No.
70.
Let's get away from the around part. How much would it pay you?
What's the RC like? 120, right?
140.
140. You do the, what is it? It's 140 times what point? Still at 92. It's 110.
100. This is why I would say let's get away from the around part, because the usually going to say 70 something.
I was gonna say around like 80, 90.
Yeah. So what you should get in the habit of doing, especially if you want to be going on commission or you're on commission,
Do the math.
right, is just on the way home. You have all the bill pictures, right? On the drive home, have a conversation. It takes 10 minutes every night. Well, okay, how much would this bill pay? How much would this bill pay? How much would this bill pay? Right? If you do that every day for 3 weeks, then you won't have to ask anymore. You won't be, then you can start going, you could look at it and go 660. I know that's like 110. Because you'll start remembering the numbers after a while, right? Like, oh, this bill was 600 a month. Oh, so that's 7,200 kilowatt hours. 7,200 kilowatt hours times 140. That's like $98. It's like $100 even. right? And because you've done that math so many times that you don't have to do the math anymore. You're just like, oh, 700 kilowatts, that's like $100. Juicy. And you're like, oh, 1,400 kilowatt hours a month? That's 1.68.
It's the same way with hustling. Like when you know a certain dollar amount, you already could count it way fast.
Yeah, like I was gonna use bad examples, right? But so the kilowatt hour per day one has the most amount of thing, but it's the same thing though. If you do it every day for 3 weeks, then you're not looking at bills and going, oh, I'm having to calculate. You know around what you're doing, which is also helps you because say you pull a bill out and it's really low usage, right? You'll know right away, like I gotta get the fuck out of this area. Like, oh shit, there's a, estimated average daily, right? So like say this one, the average is 20. 20, right, times 30, right, is 600 kilowatt hours. That's on the month. 600 on the year, that's 7,200 kilowatt hours. What's that for pay?
Or like, yeah,
What is it specifically?
like $92.
It's hard to be on.
You need
Maybe around the same 110. Should be good.
$100.80. $100. Now, so that same thing, if you divide that by 4, if you're at 5 kilowatts hours a day, right? That's
$25.
That's 150 kilowatt hours a month. That's 1,800 kilowatt hours in a year. You're barely anybody. So if you see a chart and there's a 5 in the middle here,
You can pay less than the energy bill off that shit.
you need to get the fuck out of there is what you need to do, right? Because this is what I see, like people going like, oh yeah, I wrote 10 today. It's like you wrote 10 the fucking with a 5 on it. Like, you wrote 1.
You roll 0.10 10 times.
It took you 10 units to get 1.3. Like what the fuck? 5 of those are below 1,500 kilowatt hours getting paid nothing, and 5 at like 2,200 kilowatt hours. You could have went to an area and wrote 1 deal and got paid more.
I've done it before, though. I'm a victim of that shit.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Lots of people have done it, right? So this is a breakdown, right, of the numbers you should be looking for, right? So 1 RCE is like, this is what we want to be seeing regularly. If you're seeing on average 28 kilowatt hours a day, that's an RCE, right? If you're seeing 833 kilowatt hours a month, that's 1 RCE, right? So if you're seeing 7 kilowatt hours a day, that is GTFO territory, right? If you're seeing 200 kilowatt hours a month, again, you don't want to see that, right? I say the minimum that you should be looking at is this right here, the 0.5s. At least then it's 2 for 1, It's okay to get 4 that equals 2 RCs, build up some confidence, build up some momentum. But if you gotta write 4 deals just to equivalent 1, then you're just working way too fucking hard, right? And there's a good chance that those 4 customers aren't the greatest either. Because you probably need some like apartments with people who don't pay bills. They're behind $1,000, all this extra shit, right?
It's crazy the patterns that follow with the customers.
Right? Now, if you start seeing shit like this, like, you pulled up that bill earlier and there was it was like 60 kilowatts a day for that 1 month, that's freaking, 1,800 kilowatt hours in 1 month, right? So, you're freaking 20% away there for an RC in 1 month. Right? Even if they have low consumption in a bunch of other months, it's still going to average out anyways, right? This is why when we say, if you want to do apartments, cool, find apartments that are electric heat. Because they'll use a half RC in 3 months. And then they'll use the other half RC in the other 8 months. Right? So these are the numbers that are the gold standard. Like if you're seeing below 20, right, it's not great. If you're seeing above 20, you're juice. Right? If you're seeing below 600, you're not great. If you're seeing above 600, you're juice. Plain and simple.
Just take it out of your e-binder. Screenshot it out of your notes, like your wallpaper or something.
If you're not accessing your like the community solar Google Drive, right? You're losing a hugely valuable resource.
There's so much information in there, like.
Right? That's like going. That's like having access to the internet and going, well, you know what? You know, I'm not going to check YouTube for how to change my oil. I'm just going to try to figure it out on my own. You could take a quick look. It'll tell you what you need to do. There are videos in the Google Drive on how to pitch, present,